So we're in part 2 of Brown People Hate. So from 1910 to 1930, the spike in the increase of immigrants coming to America. And let's just say at that time, America wasn't a very tolerant place. But there was a steady flow of more immigrants coming to America. So very much around the same time as Prohibition. So here comes Harry Erstingler. I don't know how to say his name, I don't care. But he was the man in charge of Prohibition and failed. So after he failed with Prohibition, there was a bigger problem in the U.S. White kids were smoking reefer. In large because the clubs or bars at that time would be jazz clubs. So these white kids would go to these jazz clubs and smoke jive. Jive is weed. Cannabisol. They would go to these clubs and smoke jive. And of course that was corrupting the youth. However, marijuana beat jive by a long shot. So they couldn't target jive because white kids already made a positive association with it. Nor cannabis because it sounds too American. How marijuana sounds very foreign and very distant. So they targeted it. And targeting the brown people wasn't very hard with Remember the Alamo. So America did the normal thing any country would do. Broad day lie. Made the association with marijuana with going crazy. Then have the association of marijuana with Mexicans. Because it sounds foreign anyway. And if you believe it makes people go crazy, you already have that negative intonation. They did this by false headlines. Movie was just strong propagandas and lies. Why? Because this man had all the good ideas. Which might even be one of the reasons that we had the Great Depression in the first place. Let me explain. America was using cannabis at that time since the 1800s. For rope, clothes, medicine. We even used it as paper since the 2nd BC. So needless to say, he had all the good ideas. And his plan worked. Matter of fact, it was super effective. Black people were 3 times more likely. And Mexicans, the people they associate marijuana with, were 9 times more likely. The man even said, jazz was the devil music. And weed makes black people forget their place. So at this alarming high rate of incarcerations, he double downs on the racism and targets the families. So, this federal agent enforces the Boggs Act of 1951. This ruined a lot of families, making every case of marijuana mandatory with a minimum sentence to 2 to 10 years, effectively ruining homes. Then came the Controlled Substance Act, which made marijuana a Class 1 drug and ruined even more homes. But there's also the border zone, which has 9 out of 10 of the biggest states and 2 out of 3 people live in. And they can pull you over anywhere in this region. And in 1935, the U.S. board said, officers can recognize the characteristic appearance of a person who lives in Mexico by relying on the style of dress and the haircut. Meaning if you have a Mexican-looking haircut, they can pull you over. So loosely, they're allowed to profile you. Around the same time this was popular and this was made.